Chapter 8, The Mouse. Small warm lights began to appear in the windows of the homes from the distant hillside cottages nestled on the storeroom shelves to the thickly settled houses in town. In the shadow of the tall bell tower, the lamplighter was making his rounds. He illuminated a long row of matchsticks, the mouse version of gas lamps, along the edge of the town square. Evening was usually a quiet time in town, a time of walking slowly and softly, but this evening Lester Tilling was doing neither. Excuse me, sorry, he apologized, as he scurried past couples strolling arm in arm. Lester Tilling happened to be very good at both apologizing and scurrying. This was fortunate because he was in a desperate hurry and crashing into everyone in his path. He anxiously weaved through the evening strollers and turned left at the end of the square. Sorry, Lester mumbled, scurrying on. Tilling, came a stern voice. Lester skittered to a halt. He looked to find that he was in front of the Mouse Council courthouse, and before him stood none other than the mayor. Oh, Mr. Mayor, hello, Lester said breathlessly. The mayor looked down from his whiskered nose at the quivering mass that was Lester Tilling. What's going on? Oh, well, my baby is having, my wife is going to be, oh, right, said the mayor. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Lester spattered before the mayor was already walking away. Goodbye, Lester said, nodding nervously. As soon as the mayor passed from sight, Lester sighed in relief and took off again at full scurry. He raced all along to a long curved row of houses, each similarly decorated, each almost exactly alike, and into one of those homes Lester disappeared. Lester Tilling burst through his front door to find three mice huddled together. His wife, Antoinette, their son, Furlong, and the doctor gathered around a soup ladle that had been made into a cradle. Lester joined them to see his baby mouse for the very first time. Antoinette studied the new mouse in the cradle. He was small, ridiculously thin, smaller than Furlough had been, by far, smaller than any mouse she'd ever seen. Swaddled in a handkerchief, the new mouse would go unnoticed if it were not for two exceptionally large ears standing out above the fabric. His eyes are open, Antoinette cried to the doctor. A rare light had inexplicably found its way into the storeroom and shone directly upon the tiny mouse. More astonishingly, the mouse was looking up at the light, and he was smiling. Don't worry about it, Antoinette. Sometimes they are, said the doctor. But he isn't cowering. He looked right at us. Oh, don't worry. He'll learn to cower. They do it all the time. But he isn't. The rest of the family stared at its peculiar addition. But the mouse wasn't looking back at them. His eyes traveled all around the room, drinking in its rich detail. He seemed particularly fascinated by the walls. They were papered with an illuminated manuscript, and the mouse appeared to be studying its intricate gold letters. Mom, he's so puny, said Furlong, and look at those ears. At the sound of his brother's voice, the baby mouse's enormous ears suddenly moved. They twitched. They flexed and focused on the voice in the same way a person might when noticing something for the first time. They seemed almost curious. And from the very beginning, Despereaux Tilling heard more, saw more, and experienced more than any of the other mice. The end of chapter 8.